And we are back. Episode 5, the Anabolic Mafia with myself and I, if you recall, Chris Mazzaro. So if my audio feels a little different this time, my microphone sounds different this time, it's because I bought a new computer and my microphone doesn't work with this computer. It doesn't have a USB port. So I apologize if my audio is off, but we are back and happy to be back.
Yeah.
Chris, so
It's
what's
been a
up?
minute. Yeah, man. What's up, bro? It's been a minute. Like I was flying all over the place. We had the Olympia weekend, which we'll talk about today and everything, but flying down there and that was my first Olympia I was going to, and I didn't realize how busy I was going to be. And then the whole week prior, like it's just been crazy the past couple weeks. So I'm glad we can get back on.
Yeah. So where are you traveling to? Fill everybody in.
Where?
Yeah, where'd you
Uh,
go?
Went down to Vegas. Went down to the Olympia. And if people don't know me already, I live in Alaska, so every flight out of Alaska sucks, and it's like a million hours away. So, and of course, I don't know what it is about me, me and my wife's flying luck. It's like every flight that I either am leaving Alaska or coming home, it's either canceled or delayed like crazy. So we had delays and cancels on the way down, more delays and cancels on the way back. We had to stay an extra day, which is actually was quite nice, but which we're thankful for. But it was an awesome, awesome weekend. So,
So you had a good time.
oh yeah, had a great time. Ate off diet a little bit, which was nice. Went out to Poppy Steak. That place is insane.
Amazing.
So you've been there, right? You have been to Poppy Steak?
Yeah, we went to the one in Miami a few times. That is, I
Okay,
think,
okay.
the best one. Last time I was in, did I go there? The last time I was in Vegas, I did go there for my bachelor party. Yeah, and the last time I was in Vegas. Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite Vegas restaurants.
Yeah, it was wild. Of course, Andrew's like, "Yo, we should get the $1,000 steak in the suitcase." We're like, "All right, fuck it, let's
Wait,
go."
did you get it?
Yeah, we did.
Dude, I don't
We
know.
split it between like
It,
five couples.
I feel so wrong paying for a steak for $1,000. Meanwhile, it probably costs $30 to them. I don't know, but I know
Yeah,
like it looks cool though. It's like kind of like buying bottles at a club,
yeah.
you know.
They had they came out dancing. They like were had like a spotlight and everything.
Yeah,
The restaurant. So if anybody's never been to Poppy Steak, you don't even know what it is. It's like the most Vegas fancy restaurant you could possibly have. Um, Everything's over the top. You get like a $2,500 like Alaskan golden king crab. You can get. They got the alcohol that's like the bottle of whatever, I forget what it is, but it's like a $30,000 bottle of alcohol you buy. I sound like a dork because I don't really drink, so I don't even know what it's called. But they got that, and then of course they got like a cake tower. You can get everything's like a show, and then they got dancers on the bar. It's nuts.
yeah. It's
So,
definitely an experience, but the food is so good.
oh my god, like so the $1,000 steak was pretty good, but then I got like a ribeye cap or something, and that
Oh,
was
that's one of their best ones.
no, it was like melt in your mouth and saying it was like cutting a piece of butter. It was so good.
It is amazing. I have. Did you get the? Oh no, they don't have it in down in the one in Vegas. So in Miami, they have schnitzel. So they have
Oh my
like
God, schnitzel.
Jewish dishes. Excuse me. In the one in Miami, I forgot that it's not in the one in Vegas. But it is so damn good. That's one of my favorite things from them. I don't know why they don't have it in the ones in Vegas, but
Is it either veal or pork?
I forgot what it is.
Like Wiener
I
schnitzel is
forgot.
like I think veal.
I forgot what it is.
I don't know, but schnitzel's
Uh,
awesome.
but it's good. But I'm glad you had a good time. Did you go to finals?
Yeah, I went to
You
finals.
did,
I didn't go to the prejudging because we went to Poppy Steak that night.
right?
Um, and we're out having a good time that night. But I watched it, and we spent Friday and Saturday at the expo. I was with Omega Mino. That was great. So hanging out there with Chase Irons. What a great dude. Like everyone coming up asking him tons of questions. Like he spent like 20, 30 minutes with people, like having conversations, people waiting in line to take pictures with him. Just solid guy, that he's spending that much time with everybody.
Yeah. How
Um,
was the booth? Was the booth busy?
oh yeah. Yeah. We stayed
Yeah.
busy. I think that was the busiest Omega Mino has been ever. when it comes to like making sales and everything. He did like a bunch of discounts and everything, which is cool.
Nice.
So, you know, um, not to mention the expo. Like I said, this is my first time here, but according to everybody else, it was much bigger than before. It was huge. Like some of the booths were like bigger than the gym that I go to. It was insane.
Yeah, because they put on dates, and those boots are expensive.
Oh, they got to be a couple $100,000 a piece, and not even to mention what they're giving out.
They're expensive. I saw, I think it was Raw Revive. They had like a tattoo
Yeah,
parlor in their booth,
yeah,
and it was like, yeah, from what I wasn't there at the Olympia, obviously, but from what I saw on social media, some of them just go crazy. It's wild.
yeah. Gymshark and them had like crazy huge booths. They had like sword fighting and stuff with the knights in armor. They had
Yeah.
MMA and jujitsu. They had sumo wrestling. Pretty wild. And like honestly, I really go around getting free stuff. I grabbed like a couple free energy drinks while I was out there, but like I was working the booth and everything. And this might sound weird, but I just don't really care like get free stuff anymore. But if you wanted to, there's people going around with full size suitcases, filling them out, and like two of them each, and leaving with like shirts and something. They probably had no supplements for like 2 years.
Well, yeah, because a lot of those people go there just for the free stuff. I mean, they go to the Olympia Expo, they go to the Arnold Expo, and they'll wait in line. Like I've been to the Olympia Expo, but I never worked a booth at the Olympia Expo. But I
Mhm.
remember when I did work boots for Gaspari many years ago at the Arnold, people would just, like you said, come around with massive bags and they'll wait in line forever just to get free stuff. I mean, when
Yeah,
we're younger, it's cool. It depends on,
yeah,
how much of a fan of the supplement companies you are. But it's definitely a cool experience for people attending. So I'm glad you had a good time at your first Olympia. I actually had a lot of FOMO. At first I was like, I won't get sick. I don't have to leave home. And then you were
yeah.
going. And then Flex is texting me, and then Norm is texting me, and then I see everybody posting all their videos and pictures. I'm like, damn. I remember telling Stephanie, I was like, I'm kind of upset I'm not being there. But also, too, I didn't have anybody in the show this year. So I also had
Yeah.
FOMO of having athletes competing this year, too. So it was better I stood home and watched from afar.
Well, we'll get there. Uh,
Yes,
only there's probably only be a couple more where I'm a spectator. So that's the idea, right? That's the plan.
that's definitely the plan.
So yeah, I was talking to Andrew about that. Like, pretty cool. Like everything's kind of coming true. Like I don't know. Like people have some of my buddies are like, oh, like you made it, bro. Like I don't know what that means to make it, but it's definitely pretty cool when you can go to the Olympia as your job. It's pretty cool. So, but like eventually getting to step on stage would be pretty freaking badass. You know.
Yeah, that's the Super Bowl of bodybuilding. That's what we dreamed
Yeah.
of as kids.
You know what I really
So,
enjoyed? So I talked to Jordan Hutchison quite a bit, and I was following him, and he was posting videos of like how he was dreaming about being there, and this was his first Olympia. He like showed like how he got his Olympia jacket, like all the little things like that. That like as a as someone watching, you kind of forget that. You just see, oh, that's a competitor, that's just an entertainer or whatever, but you forget that,
yeah.
regular people enjoying it, like they're kind of soaking all that in. So I like that he was posting that and how special that was. Just the little getting all the little pieces like the jacket, enjoying the process. So
That's a massive part of it.
yeah.
Even the tanning for the Olympia. I mean, I don't have to tell you, but tanning for the Olympia and going to the meet and greet. I like seeing it. Like I said, I never got to experience it. The only person I experienced that through was Ross.
Yeah.
Actually being there with him. But yeah, definitely look forward to the day that you're there. And there will be a day that you're there. I think
Yeah.
it's important that guys like him and yourself and whoever gets to be take it in, because I think too a lot of guys put so much pressure and stress on themselves that they don't enjoy the, like you said, the little parts of being there. And
Yeah.
they forget, like they once dreamed, women and men once dreamed of being there. And, oh my God, I'm at the Olympia. I hope I do well. And they forget to enjoy it, but also to not enjoying it too much to the point where you forget you're at the Olympia and you're walking. Like I've heard of guys walking around the expo and missing their timing of things, so soaking it in within reason. So that's
Yeah, like
awesome.
all that stuff, like even just realize like, when there's all these people there to see you, like that's great, and talking about that too, like talking about people taking time, like I talked to Seth Rosi there for a little bit, what a nice guy. Like he spends so much time talking with every single person. It's you know, it's someone you want to aspire to be more like. You see some people where I get it, you're tired, you're meeting a lot of people, but the amount of energy that he has is nuts.
Well, he's always been a fan favorite. I remember. Do you remember when I forgot if it was before you went into the army or during? Remember he disappeared for a while, even off social
Yeah.
media, and
Yeah.
then he came back out of nowhere, and everybody. He's always been that way for as long as everybody known of him. He's always been a fan favorite because he's just an everyday guy, a family man, a husband, a father, a businessman, a bodybuilder. But he's always made
Mhm.
time to be with the fans and followers of the sport, and it's awesome because you've heard the stories about how guys don't do that, and
Yeah.
they may rub people the wrong way. So, was there anybody else that you met there for the first time that stuck
Um,
out to you?
Not for the first time. I went and talked to I just talked to some of the guys that I knew. Listen, I don't know how this sounds, but I'm not really the guy to wait in line to go talk to anybody,
Yeah,
especially now, but I went and had conversation with people who I knew. It was nice. Lee Priest came and talked to me for a little bit. Flex came and said, hey, which was nice. I talked to Joe Palacios for quite a while. Him and his wife are very,
nice.
very nice. And I told you, he was pretty helpful to me backstage at Tampa, kind of getting rid of some of my
Yeah,
nerves a little bit. Um, and that stuff you remember, and yeah, it's just a solid guy. The guy is, I mean, there's not a lot of guys who, I'm not the biggest guy, but I'm also not the smallest guy. I'm walking around at 260 pounds at 5'8". So, like he's about my height and like 290 pounds. He's massive, dude.
he looks like he wears shoulder pads all the time.
Yeah.
Doesn't he? I mean, even
Yeah.
at Tampa, he looked like he had shoulder pads on, and his neck is like
Nuts.
jacked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was the only person where Andrew's like, oh my God, like he makes you look so small. I'm like, thanks, babe. But yeah, it's true. Like, I don't care. I'm
he's a
like,
big man.
the big dude. I remember when I saw him
Yeah.
backstage at Tampa, I was like, that guy's like freaking square.
Yeah, yeah, he's
He's like
huge.
Superman,
They
bro.
say he looks like he has shoulder pads on. He's so wide and so like I don't know, so dense and compact. So nice, dude.
And this is what I want to tell everybody. So if you can get your ass out to the Olympia, this is my first Olympia. I've been a fan since I was a little kid. You got to go there and see the way, or go to any pro show, but of course the Olympia is the coolest one, right? Um, you got to go see what top pros look like in person. Instagram doesn't do it justice. TikTok, all that shit. Like, there's something that gets taken away when you see things in living color. You see how grainy and hard people really are. It's a different story.
Yeah, that's why people jump right in these pictures and videos that go out. And it's if they don't, I mean, I say this all the time. iPhones tell a better story than a lot of these photographers and videos, but there's nothing like being there in person, especially the Olympia. When
Yeah,
I went, I didn't go last year, year before, I forgot what it was. I remember just being, I was pretty close to the front, and it was just like the texture. You can see the texture of the skin. I mean, that's really any pro show, but
yeah,
especially there, it's just to see those guys, and because a lot of them, the ones, the international guys, they aren't competing here in the U.S. really. So be able to see them in the flesh, it's a cool experience.
yeah. And listen. So I'll say this. So we'll start talking about the actual Olympia right now. So one thing I'll say right off the bat is the lighting was not good.
Okay,
The lighting was not good. Like in pictures, in person it was fine, but whatever way the photographers picked up the lighting there wasn't good. I know they promised a black um, backdrop. It wasn't. Is what it is. I know they got to pay their bills and everything with all the advertisements and stuff, but I just wish it was black. But the tanning was rough. Like there was so many guys who came up like yellow. Like Nick's tan looked shitty on his
yeah,
chest, so that took away from how hard his chest looked. Martin looked yellow. Regan looked white. They like it was distracting how light they were. Even Hottie looked yellow, and
no
he's
kidding.
not like a pale guy. So on stage, for him to look not the right tone is kind of funny because normally if you have like olive skin like we do or something, that you tan a little better. But
Right.
even his color was off a little bit. Yeah, there's a few guys I'm like, so my eyes, I can see that. I can see through that and be like, okay, that guy's shredded. Something's off right there. And the more I watch, I was like, all right, that's not good.
Yeah.
So these are things that you would expect to be better at the best show in the world, but this is real life. There's going to be things that are going to be off. So like when you go in as a competitor, you have to account for these things that you're not going to be able to hide under the lights. And a little thing like that, like your tan getting fucked up, could literally change your placing.
Yeah.
So, because I'll say right now, I think Martin could have placed higher if he literally had a better tan.
Yeah, the colors again, it's hard to even tell through a lot of these pictures, and because it's not even just the lighting at the show. I just don't like how these pictures and videos are being taken. Um, but yeah, you don't know unless you're actually in there in in the flesh, and like you said, anything as far as a tan could be off. What was So you want to jump into some of the placings?
Yeah, let's talk about it. So, I don't
Are you
have to
going to pull
share
it
this
up?
part. Yeah, I can. Let me. I get the thing right here. So let me do this really quick.
Cool.
Let's
We're
see.
getting technical now. We're sharing screens.
We're working on it. We're working on it. We're learning how
We're
to.
evolving. By the way, also for anybody watching, if you see me mute my thing and yell, it's because I'm yelling at my dogs to stop barking. So
Entire screen. All right. Let's see. There we go. I did it. This is pretty crazy. I'm not a computer guy. All right. So over here in front, we have Derek. And all right, what do you think about Derek's physique going into the show, or like what was your expectation?
so I expected him to come in improved from the shows earlier in the year. A lot of people gave him flack and said which was the craziest thing, saying he was done, this and that. He had a long prep going from the Olympia to the Arnold, and then was it Pittsburgh to Pittsburgh? That's a long time. So of course his legs are going to be flat. It's an issue of his in the past. But I knew once they filled out from those shows, went back into prep, he was going to come into this show good. Now, if I'm going to critique him, I would say I would have liked him to be even sharper.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do like how his legs did come up from earlier this year. His back looked great. But he definitely showed up pretty close to how I expected him to. I made a story post of poll on my Instagram, and I basically said, "Oh, who will win the Olympia?" And it was between Samson, Hottie, Derek, and Nick. Everybody voted for Nick, which we'll get into talking about Nick. But I think five people voted for Derek. And I know a lot of people can get their feelings mixed with things, but I had a very strong feeling Derek was going to be very hard to beat at this show. Now,
Mm-hmm.
did Hottie give him a run for his money? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I want to hear your thoughts on Derek before we move into any of the other guys.
So yeah, here's what I'll say. So going in, I didn't really know. I don't really know what to expect when you have a year like 2024 versus 2025. Like he looked sick at Pittsburgh. He looked great at the Arnold, and he was harder. So in 2024 Olympia, he looked a little bit soft, and I think that he lost his legs a little bit in that prep, if I remember correctly. So because I think he was trying to play more of the shredded game, but then he lost that pop. So I think this year he came in a little bit fuller, which was really good because I think the fact that his legs were bigger was a big reason why he won the show over Hottie. Because I do think Hottie was a little bit sharper. Like obviously he's sharper in the midsection. He's got a sick midsection. Um, but certain things, like I think that I know people say that Derek's biceps aren't shredded on the inside. Like it's not a bicep show. It's one body part. But overall, he had thicker arms, he had thicker legs. And if you're there in person, you can see how much harder he really is. And like I said, I think that's what won him the show over Hottie because if you look right here, um, Derek had Derek had 6 and Hottie had 9 in the prejudging, and then Hottie actually had a 7 versus Derek's 8 in the final. So Hottie did get harder, and he looked like harder, fuller, tighter, like all around in the finals, but it just wasn't enough to catch him because Derek was kind of like right across the board, like pretty good from. I mean, obviously not pretty good. He was amazing, like from prejudging and finals, but he was like more even kill right across the board. I think that's what won him the show. Um, What do you think looking at the physiques?
I definitely agree. Hadi, everybody usually gets better for the finals. Prejudging is very late at night, which they need to do something about that
It
because
sucks.
it is horrible. Horrible for the coaches, horrible for the athletes. I understand it for
If
the show.
you're tired watching, imagine how they feel like on stage. It sucks.
It's horrible. You have to hold that all day, try to land it. And, for everybody who's commented and said it's easy, all these people that said it's easy have never had somebody on the Olympia stage or been on the Olympia stage. No, it is not. So historically, usually guys come back better for finals because they get fuller or whatever it is for the next day. It's much easier to manipulate. But Hadi, I was okay with Derek winning. I love Derek's physique. We could have made the argument for sure for Hadi to win as well. It's apples and oranges too between their
Mhm.
physiques. They're not similar physiques. Hadi just has that nasty hard conditioning at finals. Derek, like I said, you have to be there, or like you said, excuse me, you have to be there in person to appreciate his physique. Yes, pictures and videos do not tell the whole tale, and certain physiques do look better in person than pictures.
Mhm.
But I definitely could have made the argument for Hadi winning. Um, in third, Andrew Jack, another guy. Everybody said he was done. I don't know why people write off guys so fast. Andrew Jack has only been bodybuilding for not a long time at all. When I
Yeah,
had a
like
conversation with him 2021, it was about certain things. It was like I was talking to somebody who just got into bodybuilding, and he did a few years before. He's something he was like, what? You know?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, and he improved so much from last year to this year. His conditioning was, in my opinion, again, this is just for pictures and videos, was very good,
No,
but
he's phenomenal.
he improved a lot of those weak points that he had, and he's going to keep
Mhm.
improving it because he just has time in his side now, unless he gets a serious injury.
If his legs get a little bigger to like account for how tall he is, like he's gonna be Mr. Olympia. Like really, if he improves on quad sweep and how his legs look from the side, because he looks a little bit narrow from the side, and like I said, we're nitpicking right now. Like he looks like a freak. Like my buddy Jake said, he looks like one of the monsters from Space Jam. He looks ridiculous up there. You know?
Insane.
Yeah. So
On his
like,
own, on his own, he looks good, but
yeah.
when he stands next to guys, it's like, wow.
And here's what I want to say. So you can have him as your favorite physique, like as a spectator, like that's up to us. If he's your favorite physique, great. If Heidi's your favorite, but when it comes down to the show, the judges have to go by a criteria. So I can see how people could say Heidi would win, but then
Yeah,
being there and watching prejudging, but like I'm looking at the scorecard. Yeah, Hadi did win in the finals. He had a better score in the finals. But in prejudging, he was not holding his poses for quite as long. Little things like that can add up. And even if you are a little harder, and then you go through the poses, like his uh, one leg was a little bit weaker than the other one in some of his poses. Like now you're at the top of the sport. You're the best people in the world, and they have to nitpick up there. They're going to run you
yeah,
through those poses. If you're not keeping up, or if you're getting a little off balance, that might go against you. So you might lose a point. But right here, it was 16 Hadi to 14 Derek. It was 2 point difference. That's not a lot, like
yeah.
so it could be the tiniest littlest thing that takes you out of first place. And they have to score it like that. They can't be subjective in the fact of like just going with their favorite guy. That's not how it works.
No, it can't be like that. They have to nitpick. It is the Super Bowl of bodybuilding for a reason. You
Hmm.
know,
You
fourth
can't
there
do
was
anything
Sam.
to beat the other guy. What's that?
What were we gonna say?
I was just saying you can't do anything to beat the other guy. Like you can't punch him in the face, right? It's not like a
No,
sport like that. But it is down to you performing and holding those poses, doing all the little things correctly, fixing the tan. Like all these things are how well can you present your physique? Even if it's a better physique, but you don't present it, you could fuck yourself. You
every
know?
little thing counts. It's not you don't just go
Yes.
up there and just stand there in your underwear. All those pieces that you control have to make a difference because every point counts, as we've seen. Like you just said, it was a
Hmm.
2 point difference. Samson in fourth. Now, I could have made the argument of putting Martin ahead of him if his tan was better, like you said. Samson was very over dieted,
Yes.
which Had a feeling that would happen because I remember it was like 8 weeks out. He was talking about how he was pushing for conditioning, which is, I commend. Like his biggest knock in every show is that he needed to be more conditioned. Now it's funny as we see him coming out of this show and going into Prague, I believe it is Prague. Yeah,
Yep.
Prague. He's like 20 pounds up and he looks incredible. So they just overshot the mark. And I'm assuming at some point in his prep, they didn't take the time to fill back out to kind of remind the muscles, the sarcoplasmic volume, if we want to be scientific, that
Yeah.
it needs to expand. So, but obviously, once he got rehydrated after the Olympia 8, hit that mini rebound, it worked in his favor. So, it's kind of was expecting that, especially with a guy that big.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as just peeling
No.
down. Well, the bigger you are, there's more things that are turning and
It
more
takes like
levers to
4 or 5 days
pull.
to fill those guys out, maybe even a week when you're 300 pounds like that. It's not like when you're a 180 pound
Huge.
classic physique guy, you can fill out on Friday. It's not like that.
No, no, especially if you've gone long periods of time like that. Martin in fifth, you know, big improvements. I really liked how he looked personally.
Hmm.
Definitely improved from last year. His conditioning was pretty good. What was your thoughts on Martin?
So, like I said, I was watching, and here I'll share this right now. So I was watching, and he he was definitely shredded. He definitely had the conditioning down. I did see that it looked like I couldn't tell if it was the tan or if it was like I don't know what it was, but he looked a little bit flat. It just didn't match the same condition. It was still great conditioning, but it didn't match the conditioning from what was it 2 years ago when he was like totally shredded.
Yeah, I believe it was 2 years ago.
The deep cuts. I can't remember if that was 2024 or 2023. I think it was 2024, right? When he was fourth place.
That was his break. I believe it was last year.
Yeah, like
I could
he
be wrong.
like the cuts in his. So that's the thing. I don't know if it was lighting or tan or whatever because he said I think from what he said in like an interview or whatever or him talking, it was like some of his best conditioning. Okay, but for whatever reason, it just didn't show quite as much. But I mean, he has a great physique, great lines. I think that he can definitely be top three. Um, there's just something missing. I got a question for you.
Hmm.
So, what happens when like what caused these guys to lose their lines as they get bigger? Is it just because the muscles are touching more? Um, is it from taking too much GH where their skin gets thicker or something? Because like right now, I'm not that big, and I have pretty deep cuts all the way up to my hip, and you just see guys who have that when they're younger, just getting into the sport, and then they just slowly lose that over the years. What is that? What's that too?
I think it's a combination of things. I mean, growing too fast is a thing. Like, look what happened to
Hmm.
Big Ramy. I like to use
Yep.
him as if you look. I remember posting a picture of him when he won the Q8 Pro and turned pro. He was insanely hard and detailed, and then we watched how quick that went away. So my belief is that pushing the drugs more and more, which everybody does for the most part, especially the growth hormone, which guys today are using a lot more than and ever has been used for the most part. And I think people like myself compare guys today to the 90s. Now, is conditioning across the board better today? Yes. But the quality that we saw in the physiques back then was different. Like the lines that you were talking about, that
Yeah.
deep separation, the striations, the thinness of the skin, how the skin would just glide over the muscle. And it's definitely due to the GH use over the
It has
past,
to.
what is it, 10 years? Because, like you said, it does cause the skin to thicken. Like
Mhm.
there was somebody I worked with, and he was using a lot of GH behind my back, and I noticed his skin. It came out later on. His skin was just getting very thick, and I'm like, and you even notice it with
Yeah.
guys' faces too, especially. Like even
Yeah.
when I was taking lots of G, I would notice the skin of my face was just weird. And then when I pulled it out over time, it got better. But that's definitely a big part in it. I mean, the growth has to play a part in it, like without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, like, because you listen to these guys for nines and people are like, oh, they're full of shit. I believe them because they talk about how a lot of drugs weren't available back then. They just use what they could find. Um, and these guys were just like using, and it was just so expensive. There wasn't a bunch of generics around. There wasn't all that stuff. Which
No.
so these guys were using like 3 IUs, 4 IUs. Now 12, 15, 20.
And
Like,
that's the truth because back then it started. The main thing that was around was the cadaver GH.
mhm.
Then came the GH as we know it, but it was super expensive back then and very hard to get. I'm not. This isn't me just coming up with this out of my ass. And guys
No,
back
no,
then specifically said it, and people I know and trust. So
yeah,
absolutely. And then notice this too. The guys back then were big, but look at the evolution from the early
no, it's not the
2000s to
same.
now.
Way
They're
different.
just
Like a lot of the guys were
massive.
in the 230s. Like how
Yeah.
many guys are competing in like 220s to 230s? Look at like Dexter Jackson, most of his career. He was probably like two teens through low 230s, right? Am I right? Like I think it
I
was
think
like
so.
that. Um, the 1 year like Flex
You, you
Wheeler was only really big in like 98 and later, you
you're
know?
right because Dexter turned pro in a lighter weight class.
Yep. Kevin Lebroni even, the biggest I think he was on stage was maybe in the 240s.
Yep.
And now, like you have Martin, he's one of the smallest guys on stage, and he was like 235, something like that. You know,
And look at
so
and this is going to sound silly, but look at the guys' faces today. All their heads grow. It sounds
yeah, they have
dumb.
round faces.
And yeah, you could just see it on they all kind of the nose grows, the cheeks
Yeah.
grow in a different way, the facial features come out. I mean, I'm one to talk.
And look, I got to point to that too. So this is what I've noticed because back in the day, you'd see pictures like Kevin Lebroni, his face would just be stuck. He looked like a true skeleton. Same thing with Dorian and all that. And on that note, yes, we all know Dorian was huge, but also he was a freak. That's why he was 6-time Mr. Olympia and was beating guys with better physiques because he built something insane. So I don't want anybody to be like, oh, well, what about the two guys who are huge or whatever? But no, we're talking about the majority of these guys. But what I was gonna say is when I see guys actually with Skeletor face as a pro now, they're just like not full anymore. Like I think that could be because of the amount of GH that's used anymore because like you would expect them to be more shredded and deeper lines, but it's like you need so much more food to fill that back out, to actually make it look shredded because of, there's going to be some damage done if you want to be that big,
Oh,
you know?
without a doubt. I mean, that people, it is known today that the more you put, even you just mentioned Martin, right? Look at him
Yeah.
years ago. Compare, listen, his lines, his conditioning is great as a whole, but there's a reason why those details aren't as deep now. Look at Nick Walker a few years
Yeah.
ago to now. Like when he won the New York Pro, you think he posted, somebody posted his lines were crazy at that. Like it happens. Look at Branch Warren. One point he had a very clean look, healed, but
Yeah, he had a
it just
beautiful physique. When he was like I remember I've seen pictures of him winning teen nationals, seen him as a younger pro. People are like, oh, the Branch Warren look, dude. He had a fantastic physique,
incredible
small
look.
waist, big shoulders, legs insane.
Deep details, striations, and look what happens to all of them. So I mean, unfortunately, it's inevitable. I mean, even look at Tonio. Tonio is still one of my favorite physiques on the Olympia stage, without a doubt.
Shredded, shredded.
Love his conditioning, love his lines. He, like they say, is like the new age Dexter Jackson in a way. But yes, that hardness is there. But the details from a year ago, 2 years ago, are starting to become less and less. It's just a part of it as you get bigger. And
Yeah.
what can you do? Stay on the smaller side forever? It's
Nope.
not going to happen. So I definitely think the GH does play a part. So
And that's the thing. Like going back, we were talking about Samson before, and he wasn't like fat. Like he was shredded. Like was looking at him and he was shredded. But it's like when I was watching him flex, it's like nothing really happened. So like
yeah,
he is known for having, like I said, like people said, like a little bit thicker skin before, but he needs to be full like that because when he is full, he looks like insane. He looks like a cartoon, and he
and,
lost that cartoonish look. And now I'm seeing all the updates, and I know it's Instagram, but I mean, I think he could very well have the best physique he's ever had if he fills out enough for this next show.
1,000, because now he's already hit that new level of conditioning that he's never had before. And
Yep.
genetically, him and usually black guys in general have thicker skin. I mean, look at
Hmm.
Akeem. It takes him first show he does of the season, yeah, and then he gets better and better. So it's the same thing with Samson. Now that he's already at that point, now that his fullness is back and he keeps that skin the way it is, he's going to look. I mean, I think he's definitely going to look his best ever in Prague. It's just a matter of continually hammering at it. But he, like you said, he needs to have that roundness on the Olympia stage because he's very tall too.
Yeah.
So without that pop, he just kind of looks like a tall guy. So
So I'm gonna let the internet and the world know a little secret that I've done with one of my competitors. He was a black guy and he was super shredded. And I got him. I basically peaked him about 10 days prior to the show, and then I had him fill back out, and like I was trying to fill him out and everything. So I had this idea. I was like, you know what? I think he's gonna need more food. So like when I peaked him, he just was like flat and like losing all the pop and everything. So I'm like, all right, we're gonna go have like burger and fries. So I started feeding him healthy food, and then I was like, how'd your stomach feel when we ate that bad food? Well, and he was like, it was fine, great. So I started giving him bad food like 10 days out, 9 days out, 7 days out. It took me almost the entire week to fill him out. So then he was filled out by like Thursday, and then we just rolled into the show. I didn't even cut water. He just stepped on stage and looked sick.
yeah,
Like
some guys just need more time.
he was drinking a gallon of water, like on the day of the show. He was drinking.
Yeah, some guys just
Right.
need more time. It's
Yeah.
rare, but some
Yeah.
guys are just like that. So
I had to feel that one out because I was like, hey, were you willing to like try something a little bit weird? And he was like, yeah, screw it. It's a small show. So, it worked. And now I kind of have something else in my back pocket for the right individual.
yeah,
So,
that won't definitely won't work for everybody, but that's
no, no.
something to keep in mind. In sixth place, we had Nick.
Yeah.
So I personally was not betting against Nick going into the show because number one, I know he for a fact he's a very driven individual.
Mhm.
Two, his coach Kyle does care a lot and is very smart. I know Kyle. I have tons of respect for him. Um, they looked great earlier this year, compared much better than last year.
Mhm.
So I knew with the both of them dialed in, I'm like, okay, he's probably going to be at his best at this show. Now, they can't change his shape. They could only do so much with his waistline. But if they were to nail it and other people would be off, he would have been a problem for people. Now, when Nick was, I think, 6 days out or 5 days out, he said publicly that he was going to be 8 pounds heavier than earlier this year. When he said that, right
Mhm.
away, I knew he was going to be off. And listen,
Mhm.
I know Kyle said in his public statement that it was his first time peaking somebody for the Olympia at night. Very hard. Yes, it's hard to do if you've never done it before.
And good on him for
Nick,
being honest. Good on him
yo,
for
hell
being
yeah.
honest.
Hell yeah. I mean, that's very respectable. Did Nick look better at the finals? Yeah, definitely
For
did.
sure. Yeah.
But still something was off. So when he said he was 8 pounds, going to be 8 pounds heavier, in my head, I was like, why?
Mhm.
Maybe it just happened unintentionally. I don't think they purposely tried to do that. But I'm like, he looked great earlier this year. If he stood like that, refined what he had, still allowed things to come in with more pop, while of course still nailing the conditioning, I was like, he's going to be an issue for a lot of
Yeah.
because you saw how we pushed Derek, but Derek wasn't at his best. But
Yep.
once he said he was 8 pounds up, I'm like, okay, something is going to go wrong, and it did. Like his waistline was off in the prejudging. I know he was on the flatter side. His legs seemed a bit off. His back seemed off. With how he looked personally on the prejudging, and listen, I had Nick as one of the front runners going into the show. I was like, he's not going to
I
mess
think
anything up. His coach Kyle is locked in, but with how he looked, I could have even put Brandon Curry or Tonio ahead of him for the fact of the way the quality of their conditioning and how they flowed overall. Now, was Nick freaky in terms of size? Yes, absolutely. But I definitely think they will improve. I do think they need to continue to work on his waistline because it is a problem. Um, What were your thoughts on him?
So going in, um, you know, I listen. I thought he looked insane, and I have to say this about Nick. I think everyone saw that one like picture that just went viral of him just kind of standing there, like his abs all flexed and everything, and like it was just kind of like a candid shot. And I was like, I think people really need to realize that we've never had a Nick Walker before. We've never had someone 5'7" and like 285 pounds. I don't know what Nick weighs, but he looks like a house. And in person, he's way bigger than a lot of the guys next to him, like thicker. And you don't see that on your 2-dimensional screen, but when you see him standing on stage, like he's inches thicker sideways and like in every direction, so much bigger. So it's pretty overwhelming to see when you're seeing in person. Yeah. So I mean, I had him in the top three. I thought he could push Samson with the way he was looking, and that's depending on how Derek looked. There's a lot of depends, right?
Right.
Then when I saw him at the prejudging, I saw a few things off. I said before his tan looked off. That doesn't help. He looked a little bit. It looked like he was flat, and then they tried to fill him out too much. That's what I assessed because like flatness, if people don't have the eye for it, it's like when someone's flexing, there's like nothing happens. Like they'll go to flex their bicep and there's no pop. Like right now, I'm not flat by food, but I'm not pumped and everything. But you just don't see a pump ever happening on stage. That's how you can usually tell when someone's flat, right? You agree with that?
Yeah, and then there's certain details and certain parts of
Yeah.
their muscles specifically that aren't showing as opposed to when they are
Yeah.
full. Yeah.
Since we're sharing the screen, that's why I left this up here is because normally Nick is like feathered across his chest. He's more feathered in the shoulders. So like, and that wasn't as apparent. So I was like, okay, that's not that great. Um, so there's that. I thought he looked a little bit flat, and then it looked like he maybe like overfilled or something. And he was flexing with his stomach like sucked in and stretched up like a long stomach rather than crunch down in the prejudging, which I don't think that helped because I think he looks way better when he crunches his abs down. I know Chase told him that, and I think and that's he changed that for the night show. Um, and he definitely improved. And going back
Yeah.
to the which I'm going to share for people too. I know I just undid it. Um, so people are looking at this. He was behind Martin in the morning, and then he had a better score in the finals by 5 points. It was an 8 point difference, but people don't believe me when they say like, oh, like you can improve. You can. It matters. So, I'm sorry, the other way around. He was. Oh no, I'm actually completely wrong. He was behind both times. I thought he had a better score in the morning. So that's my fault. But I don't know. Like he definitely improved, but it just wasn't enough, obviously. And it's unfortunate. I really like Nick. I think he's a great dude. But you're allowed to be off. You're not gonna be perfect forever,
That's the thing. That's another thing that I hate about what has become of modern day bodybuilding is that the public assumption or expectation is that, listen, of course, yeah, people should expect these guys to be on. It's impossible to nail it every time. And
No,
anybody that tells you different is a liar. And these coaches that claim they nail it every time are complete liars.
no.
You're only looking at the highlight reel of most of their Instagrams to begin with. Nobody nails it every single time. Why were all the guys in the 90s and early 2000s going on these tours, especially the European Grand Prix and all
Mhm.
these? It was very, yeah, it's a nature of what we're doing. And for
It was
somebody
a
it's
different winner all the time. It was like a different winner every show.
exactly. So, and even today, it's like you can't listen. If somebody's off, it happens. It
Yeah.
happens. It's just a part of it. And that's why they have to stick with their coach and figure out what the
Yeah.
issue are, improve it for next time, and try to be better. It's even look at even look at Samson. Okay, he's getting better now. He knows what to do next time. Everybody's gonna know what to do. So, I think I wish the public and fans of bodybuilding realized this and gave these guys a little more grace. And I know some people say, oh, it's professional. Why is they're sitting there from their computer? It's professional bodybuilding. They have to be at their best. You sit in your computer, you sit there watching, you go to the gym, you judge these guys, but you haven't actually done it, nor do
No.
you coach these people. It's
It's
just a
so
part of it.
different. It's
It's
so
just a part
different
of it.
when you're when you're like I said, you're like a 175-pound dude. It is so different when you are 40, 50, 100 pounds heavier. Like it's not the same game anymore. It's totally different.
No.
That's like you driving your little Honda Civic and being and like, why is Max Verstappen crashing into the wall with his F1 car? He's a professional driver. Like, what do you mean? Like, it's so different. This guy's
It's
doing
very
200
different.
miles an hour around the turn.
Yeah, but he's a professional. He shouldn't get it every time. It's not how. Okay, okay. So why doesn't the same team win the Super Bowl every year? So why doesn't the same team win the World Series every single year? Why doesn't there would be the same UFC boxing champions every? It's just it's a nature of every single sport and anything involving competition. So I wish people were a little more lenient with that because it gives unnecessary pressure to these guys, and pressure's good. Yes, at the end of the day, it's a competition, but there's always going to be room for some sort of failure. Sometimes things just don't go to
Absolutely.
plan. Sometimes
And
just
Nick
doesn't go to
is like
plan.
he's always been on. Like he's always
Yeah,
had a good no matter who his coach was, he's always like been on. This time he wasn't 100%. And that's what happens at the top of the sport. You're not 100%, you're not going to place as high as you could,
yeah,
you know?
exactly. It's a
And
nature of the game.
if he was the normal Nick that we know, he could have definitely been in front of Samson, like and it's
I
just
agree
Samson,
with that.
you
I
know?
agree with that. But it's just a part of it. It depends on who's coming on and who comes off, and there's always going to be people that are off. So all in
Yeah.
all, I think it was a great Olympia. I think it was one of the better, most competitive Olympias we've seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
Even though the entire top 10 as a whole was a very good top 10. 212, if you want to touch on that real quick.
Yeah. Um Going on to 212, yeah, I mean, we all look at as at Keone like he's got one of the best physiques of all time. Like he looks insane. Looks insane in person. I was telling people like I weighed more than him and he looked 20 pounds heavier than me in when I was there for the USA. It's like this guy's thick. So,
Yeah,
but
he's big boy.
but uh okay, let's talk about it. So he was on stage. I thought that Shawn gave him a run for his money this time. I think Shawn looked
Mhm.
insane. He was so shredded, and Shawn made such big improvements to his legs and his back. Like Shawn's back would look a little wonky sometimes in the past, but then like he made it look really good. Like he looked really good this year. And Keon's stomach seemed a little off. I don't know if he was bloated, if there was a digestion issue, maybe he's got a hernia or something. I think that there might be a hernia there. I don't know, but something was a little bit off. Maybe he ate too much food. Even it could be so many different things,
Yeah,
but it was a little bit distracting. And like I said, he still has one of the best physiques of all time, in my opinion. But if you have a distracting body part, you can lose points. You know?
especially at that level. And Keon's physique almost, and again, I could be wrong, but it looked like they pulled water a little too hard and they tried to feed up, and the food didn't go to the right places. So we didn't have that super, super hard look that I was expecting him, especially based on the pictures a few days before. I mean, based on how he looked a few days before, if those pictures were true, kind of
Yeah,
just cruise right in. But Shawn, I mean, you could have even made the argument for Shawn winning as well. I mean,
yeah,
like you said, he was peeled. Legs are the best they've ever been. Back, every pose. Of course, Keon was bigger. His shape is better. So Keon did have the edge, but Shawn made such drastic improvements. I was extremely impressed.
I agree with you.
Extremely.
I'm looking over to the side. People wondering what I'm looking at. I've got like multiple screens here,
No,
and I'm
you're
like
good.
trying to
You're good.
see where the 212 scorecard is, but I don't see it. It's not.
I,
It's
I
not here.
have the top five pulled up. I mean, we don't even got to
Okay.
look at the scorecard, but one was Keon, two was Shawn, three was Lucas Garcia, four was Nihat Kaya, the young kid from Turkey. I think he's in
That guy
his
looks
early
insane.
20s. He looks great. And then five was Courage Opara,
You know
um,
who? He looks like the guy from where's he from in the Middle East? That one, the young kid, the
Turkey.
Turkey. Dude, he has some body parts that reminds me of Jason Hutt, like the
Really?
wide chest, the pointed shoulders a little bit. Like there's just some, and like his legs look sick compared to his small waist. Like there's some of that where I don't know, reminds me of that. Where I'm like, I don't know, I like his physique a lot, and I think that if he
He
keeps
is,
going in that direction, he's gonna be for sure a top guy.
I think if he continues to stay healthy and
Yep.
watch his lines and not get big too fast, because as we were talking about, I think making sure you're not growing too fast is very important. As
Hmm.
nice as it sounds, I want to put muscle on as fast as I can. You will lose your lines, you will lose your look. It will just be an ugly physique over time. He will be
Yeah.
very good because I have to say, out of the top five, aside from Shawn and Keone, he is the one to me that has the most potential for the future in my
Hmm.
mind, in terms of being a possible winner for that class. Once Keon moves on officially to the Open, once Shawn is out, I think he'll be, as long as he continues to improve, keep his waist small, he'll be a top runner
Yeah,
without a doubt.
agreed. I think that's a positive about when you do have a weight cap like 212 or like the classic physique guys.
Yeah.
They have that ability to like grow very specific body parts while keeping within that weight, and you can keep those deep lines, which I think is pretty cool.
Well, there's a reason why all those guys, the classic and the 212 guys, are usually the most peeled.
I mean, they look insane, and that's what I'm
Insane.
saying though. It's not like the if people don't know, like I said, when they're looking online, it's not like the open guys aren't shredded in body fat. Okay, there's just other things happening that you can't see through the lens of a camera. And a lot of these cameras, there's a filter on it. There's something that washes them out a little
Yeah.
bit. Um, but there's a reason why they just don't have those deep cuts. But in body fat, there's not fat there. They're all shredded. It's just
Yeah.
like you just lose something when you're freaking 260, 70, 280, on stage. It's like,
Something's got to go.
yeah, it's not going to be perfect.
The waist is going to grow at some point. It's inevitable, especially
Yep.
when you're pushing up into those weight categories. Things are going to start to go. It's just there's going to be a trade off.
And on that note, too, this is like a random thought that I had too. I wish people would appreciate. I've talked about this in the past. Anything can be taken away from you, So like, appreciate your prep right now and appreciate your favorite bodybuilder's prep because this may be the last time they look that shredded, and you may not even realize it. Like we're always looking for the next year is going to be even better next year. But like, looking back at like Phil Heath in like 2012, 2013, like
Yeah.
what a badass physique before he got much bigger. Like I love that look when he was like low 240s. Like he looked
Yep.
insane. Small waist, his
Nuts.
chest looked 3D. That was my favorite look he ever had. People talk about Kevin Levrone back when he did was like 92 or 93 Arnold, something like that. One of
Yep.
his earlier shows. Just looked insane, looked incredible.
Jay Cutler 2001.
Jay Color 2001, insane.
Nuts.
And
Nuts. I mean, he was so hard. The details were crazy.
yep. And there's a little bit lost in translation there. Like there's a story about, Jay Color talks about when he was talking to Hani after 2009. He's like, I don't think we can ever do this again. Because like 2009, he looked crazy in his comeback.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know if we can ever hit this peak. This is the best ever, like that you're ever going to
Yeah.
see. And those legs are some of the best legs and striations that we've ever seen on the stage. So like I've learned because of situations like that to appreciate like when you're looking at something amazing, because it may be the last time your favorite bodybuilder looks that good, you know.
That's right.
They
You
could get
can't
a
fight
hernia, they could
time.
have an injury, whatever.
You can't fight time and you can't fight God's plan. Because, like you just said, injury, sickness, life, whatever it is. So, like I said, I wish people were a little less critical and enjoyed, like you said, enjoyed how they look now because it may be the
Mhm.
last time. And
Yeah,
even guys themselves, too. I think guys have
yeah,
to start realizing that, too, is because I may never look like this again. Yeah, listen, we all could be positive, but life is life. And some things are totally unavoidable and it can happen, you know?
yeah. Live in the moment. That's why, like, I'm not afraid to say. Uh, you told me this too. You said take more pictures. Like take more pictures
Yeah.
because you never know, and that's why I got a whole bunch of pictures and footage from my prep that I haven't posted and stuff. But I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna look in the mirror. I'm gonna look in the car door when I'm walking by. Like,
Yeah.
you're enjoying being shredded. You're like, dude, this is sick. Like, this is awesome. Even
Do you know
right now,
why
I'm
I
like,
said that?
like
Do you know why I said that?
because you miss it.
No. I
Okay.
barely took any pictures of myself.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was just so like, oh, I'm going to be better. I'm going to be better. I'm going to be doing this for a long time. I didn't want to see what I looked like. I always thought I wasn't anywhere close to my best, and I wasn't. But I don't really have much, all my pretty much all my check-in photos. After I would send them, I would delete them
Hmm.
I never took pictures of myself in the gym. Even in my preps, I didn't want to see myself. I walked
Yep.
around in hoodies in the gym. I didn't pose in the gym. Um, I rarely took videos. And now I think back, I'm like, man, I have barely, and even the pictures, even me on stage wasn't even the best. And I think back, I'm like, man, I don't really have much. I don't even have any of my trophies. I have like two trophies left. After my house got robbed, so I have not much of anything to
I
look
don't have any
back
of
on.
my old ones.
So that's
Like
why
with
I was saying, like, well, you know who I got the picture thing from? Sorry for my own experience. Flex
oh
Lewis.
yeah, I've heard him
Hi-
talk about
His his entire career is documented. He has
crazy,
pictures from literally like day one
and he's
till
rolling
the
them out.
end. Yeah, he has never-ending pictures. Even when we were training together, he was taking pictures and videos of everything. He goes, "I'm gonna make sure we have videos of everything
Yeah.
you can look back on." And that's when I was like, oh, "Damn, I wish I did that," but I didn't. So that's why I tell guys to enjoy it, like I told you, and take as many because. And it's funny too. You look at the pictures of you now, you're like, man, you may not like how you look now, or you may think you're not big
Yeah,
now.
you will
You may
though.
think it, but when it's all said and done, take it from me. You will look back and be like, man, you're gonna be feeling
Even
yourself.
even just after my prep, like even a few weeks later, a few months later, I look back, I'm like, damn, I was fucking shredded right there. That's
But
sick.
in the moment, you're like, I don't. Oh, then again, too, you're a little different. But most people, I was in the moment, like, I don't know. But afterwards, you're like, man, like I look back, I'm like, damn, I
Oh,
was
trust
two
me,
nine. I thought I
every
was
day I want to
tiny.
be 1% better. So of course I'm like, ah,
Right.
fuck it.
I thought I was tiny when I was 290. Tiny. I look back, I'm like, oh my god, I'm like what a psychopath.
Dude, listen, like I'm walking around the Olympia. I'm like, listen, I'm not the biggest guy, but I'm definitely not small. 5'8", 260, that's pretty good dimensions. And I'm like,
Big.
I better put a bigger shirt on or something like that. But then I'm like, ah, you're retarded.
Don't do
Like
it.
then I see a picture of myself next to someone, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm all right.
Yeah,
You
don't
know?
do it. Don't fall into that trap.
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoy it.
No, I'm having a good time, man. And no, good on Flex. I've heard him talk about that in a few podcasts where he's like, man, take more pictures, you know. So it's funny all the little things I get from, I still watch podcasts. I still go back and watch the
Yeah.
videos and I try to take a little bit from so many people, you know.
It's the way to do it. And the stuff that
Yeah.
we may have not caught years ago, you'll catch it now. It's just like some movies. You watch them multiple times, you find something new
Yeah.
or a show every time you watch it. Same
From
thing with
different
this
eyes too.
podcast.
Like
Yeah.
military movies before I was in the army is so much different now. Like
Oh, I'm sure.
I actually don't well, like, okay, so there's parts of that where like I'll watch some shit and I'm like, okay, just shut your mind off and then just enjoy it. Because I'm like, God, why didn't he check that corner right there? Like there's like little
Yeah.
shit like that, but they gotta add the Hollywood hot sauce to make it look cool. But then there's other parts where like, I don't cry about anything, but I'll like watch a military movie and I'm just like getting a little cracked up watching them like, oh man, that suck if that was like my buddy. Like so
Yeah.
just different eyes.
It's
So it
true.
ruins it, but also makes some of them better. All right, we're getting off topic, of course. Talking about freaking movies, but I do want to talk about classic a little bit. I know we always talk about open, but they're still bodybuilders. I mean, so I want to talk about the top three there. So,
Let me pull
um,
up the all the placings. If I classic Zeke Olympia placings.
if you guys are wondering, we're going to talk about men's physique, though. I don't care.
Yeah, this is a bodybuilding podcast. Sorry, guys. So I
Yeah,
have it
they're,
pulled
they're
up.
halfway there, though. Oh my god, did you see John Livia's comment
No, I did not. What did he
on his
say?
podcast? Oh my god. All right. I thought this was funny. If this offends you, then I don't know what to tell you. But he was talking on his podcast, and he's like talking about how like the wheelchair Olympia guys only got like $3,000, and then the men's physique got like whatever 20,000. He's like, they're both only doing their upper body though, aren't they the same? Isn't that bullshit?
Oh, that's
It's like,
horrible. That's terrible. Because I got
oh my
guys
god,
I coached somebody into the wheelchair Olympia. He's actually a
yeah, he looked
jiu-jitsu
great.
black belt. He's nasty,
Sick.
crazy wrestler, black belt jiu-jitsu, and of course, guys in physique. But that is a funny joke. But
Come on,
uh,
that's
but
funny.
yes, sorry, physique guys. We are not going to be recapping the physique Olympia.
You got to have a good
Um,
sense of humor and have fun, man.
yeah. All right. So first place we had Ramon. Second place Mike Summerfield. Third place Terrance. Fourth Jose. I may butcher his
Munoz,
name. Muno.
Munoz.
And fifth Niall Darwin. Um,
He looks sick in Tampa.
I mean, Ramon placing first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be honest, I don't really agree with it 100% from the back, really.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mike Sommerfeld was much better from the back. Actually, man, I'm going to say almost all the poses. I do want to watch Tyler's judging feedback for why they chose him. I haven't watched it if it's out yet, but I personally would have picked Mike Sommerfeld.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think Ramon looked great. It was definitely the best Ramon has ever looked. But also, too, I think my opinion and vision of it may be a little skewed because it's classic. It's not 212. It's not open
Mm-hmm.
bodybuilding. So I believe too my opinion of it may be a little skewed because Ramon does look like a classic bodybuilder. He has the shape, he has the structure. Even watching this reminds me of a bodybuilder in the late 80s, early
Yep.
90s. I mean, look at this. It's
I
just
think when
even
it comes, I think when it comes down to it, I think okay, I can see the argument for Terrance winning. I can see the argument for Mike winning. I see the argument for Ramon. I thought Mike was going to win personally. Okay, me watching, I had Ramon third. I had Terrance and Mike back and forth for first. Okay.
yeah.
But the more I look at it, if they have their own criteria for classic physique, I don't know what the hell it is because it ain't open bodybuilding. But he's got great flow. His upper body and his lower body match so well. Like he's streamlined. He's a little taller. Like he, I don't know what people even talk about when they say like, oh, they're the most classic. If anything, I think Mike Summerfield's the most classic. Round, bubbly muscles.
You think
You know,
so?
I think so. I think he looks the most classic. Like there was no such thing as classic. Classic bodybuilding was just bodybuilders back
I know,
then.
but that's a he. So it sounds ridiculous, but if I was to pick somebody to win, it's going to be Terrence. Maybe I'm a
Okay.
little biased. He is a friend of mine. We turned pro together.
Okay.
When Classic first came out, I was just saying he's the epitome of Classic. He just has that super small waist, wide shoulders, the way his physique flows, the way he poses. And again, I'm not taking anything away from Mike Sommerfeld, but Mike Sommerfeld reminds me of a 212 modern day bodybuilder. Now, you look at Terrence, I mean, and Ramon, they just have that not overly bubbled look. They're peeled, but they're not as deep detailed as Mike Sommerfeld. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but if we look at guys in the 80s and early 90s, this is what they looked like for the most
Mm-hmm.
part. I mean, and Ramon, I mean, especially Terrence. I mean, look at this.
Like his posing routine was phenomenal.
I
It
mean,
was
yeah,
awesome. It was
he's
like
he's
a
one of the
rendition of
best
like
posers
Pure Elite.
ever. But look at the
Sick.
flow of his physique. It's just
Yep.
it's
One of my
beautiful when you
matches
look
I
at
won.
it. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's like I said, him and Ramon this show had, if I was to say classic, and again, it's a very personal opinion. This is
Mm-hmm.
it right there. And then here's Mike. Listen, Mike looks amazing. He does. But again, if we're gonna put a
And that's the
label
thing,
on,
like, when is classic? Like when is the classic physique? Because I look at him and I
here's a
think
good
of like
question.
the muscle magazines. Like I saw some old muscle mags from like the 1970s, and I see some of that in his physique. You know, like the very round biceps, the this chest being so big and everything. Like that's what the way they were building their physiques was like this overgrown chest and actually a little bit smaller legs back then. If you want classic, right?
Yeah,
So, but
but
then
that's his,
when is classic?
his legs are too big. But you bring up a good
Yeah,
point. What era is classic? But also look how much it has evolved over the years, as
yeah.
every other class has. You know, I
We
mean,
just back up.
his back is amazing, but
Yeah,
is it classic? Or because we also hear sometimes at the amateur level and the national, some guys are too big for classic and they tell them to go up. So
yeah. If you're
where is
really
the
a big
line
guy,
drawn?
I don't know.
You know,
I genuinely don't know. So that's like when I'm coaching, I I have to go with what me and the athlete agree is the best possible physique for them. That's all I can do. You know, like
yeah,
I can, at a maybe higher level, you get more nitpicky and like go a little harder, a little less hard, whatever. But like in the beginning of them like building their physique and where we think it's going to go, I'm like, okay, like what do you think? You want to try to go a little harder than this? And usually they say yes. And they're like,
Yeah.
so you got to wait for the feedback.
And
Um,
then but side note, what kills me too
what's
is how
that?
people think classic is just smaller bodybuilding.
Yeah, it's not. I
It's
wish it
not.
was.
I'm gonna do classic. No, you just don't have enough. It's supposed to be shape and structure, mainly structure, but it's
Mhm.
kind of gone away from that. But it is not a smaller bodybuilding. Just because you lack muscle tissue does not mean you are classic.
Yeah,
This is Jose.
yeah.
Yeah,
Beautiful physique. I mean, super hard. I don't know. Is that his skin or is that tan?
I'm sure
Uh,
it's also the camera and the lighting too.
no, he had like something like you'll see when he turns around. Like he was hard as nails, you know. And that's the thing. This lighting sucks. Yeah, see that? Is that
Terrible.
his skin? Is that like a skin color, like freckles and stuff?
It's hard. It's hard. Oh, so it's minimized on my screen because you're screen sharing. It's
Oh,
hard to tell.
oh, okay. Sorry.
No, it's not your fault. It's just the way the screen shares.
Yeah, I don't know how anything works,
But he
but no,
he
I
looked
mean,
incredible
he looked
too.
insane. But
But
then
here's the
again,
thing.
you can see here that the lighting just kind of like it was too much. You can't have
Yeah.
lights from every angle.
And I think I also believe it's the way these photographers are setting up their camera in whatever way they're doing it because iPhones show better images in a lot of these. And I don't know why
Yeah,
people don't admit it, but it does. Especially if you're sitting up. Let's hit Andrea. Hit that one real quick.
yeah. The like I said, the monster from
It's
Space Jam,
crazy. It's crazy.
ridiculous. So yeah. So I mean, I'm looking at him right here. I think if he could grow a little bit more, I mean, I'm dude. For me to judge him, like it's crazy. But if he could grow a little bit more hamstring sweep from the side, a little bit more leg
Yeah.
sweep, I mean, I don't know how that's going to be beatable. If he brings this level of conditioning or even possibly better, which, like I said,
Yeah.
how, like, look at that, crazy.
He is extremely and this is just in the video that's
Legs cut
being
up to the
screen
hip.
shared. I mean, look at the way how tight the skin is on the quads.
The way he switched his abdominal thigh to turn sideways and then twist over the top to the side was way better this year.
The only thing I worry about is the delts.
Getting too cartoonish? What do you mean?
Yeah,
A little too pointed?
they look like triangles in some shots.
Yeah,
I mean, look at the way it moves, or
yeah,
doesn't, or lack of movement. And listen, I love
yeah,
Andrew's physique. I always have. I did not count him out for the Olympia, but
yeah.
something looks a little off there.
So I am not gonna call out athletes by name for this part. Okay. And this goes to the lowest level competitor to the highest level competitor. When you're pinning yourself, it has to be like art. You have to be able to hide them. You can't just pin your delts every other day or every day for a year and expect them not to look like triangles or to lose all your striations because we talk about losing lines. That's part of it too. You can't just
Definitely
keep
does,
jamming stuff in your quads and not expect to lose your striation on your quad.
or your delts.
And you can't keep pinning your freaking glutes and not expect to have a golf ball or a baseball or a softball on your glute, and it's so distracting. And the judges hate that. It looks like shit.
Yeah, yeah, and that's different than oil.
Wait. And we're back. Sorry, everybody. So, okay. So the last thing I was talking about was, yeah, if listen, taking PEDs and everything is part of the sport, and if you're starting young, whatever age you're starting, doesn't matter. All the way to the top level, you need to be strategic and you need to know how to do things safely and the right way. And you have to rotate. You have to learn that you can put things in different places. And one thing I think is an issue now is I think it's fantastic we have aminos and peptides and all this kind of stuff. But every time you pin yourself, adding more scar tissue. So guys are not just taking their PEDs, whatever it used to be
They're
like a
they're
couple times a week,
taking a
now it's
lot
all the time.
every day,
10 shots a day, crazy. Can't
every
do that.
day, and
No.
also to make sure you're getting tissue work done
Yes.
routinely. So it's funny.
No, I
Yes,
I talk to so many people, they'll reach out like, "Man, my deltoids are killing me, man. I'm like, from what? You hurt yourself doing bench press or something? Like, no, like my delts from pinning them. And I'm like, okay, do you rotate them? They're like, what do you mean rotate? And I'm like, all right, like,
No, they're jamming it in the same place over and over. And that's, listen, I think it's important to get tissue work for injury prevention.
mm-hmm,
But I think it's going to be, with some people, even more important to prevent that scar tissue from building up and ruining your muscles. That's why, we've seen bodybuilders, especially back to tissue work 2, 3 times a week. Yeah, sure, it's good for injury prevention. But with as
not
many
cheap.
times as people are, it's a lot of money. As many times as people are injecting themselves to get that massaged out and clear out some of
Mhm.
that scar tissue is very important,
Same thing if you're doing you're doing your sub Q in your stomach, the same spot over and over. You're still building scar tissue in your skin,
right?
and you're not going to get that paper thin look. So we talked about losing lines with like growing too fast and everything, but like that's another thing. In the '90s, they didn't have peptides, bro. They didn't have peptides like when we were coming up. Like we didn't know what the hell they were.
They were there, but they weren't popular at all.
Yeah, like
But
nobody.
yeah, nobody used them. You know who was the first person I heard of using them? Really?
Who?
So aside from Dennis James, when he was at coaching Rami, became
Yeah,
known as being like a peptide guy.
yeah,
Nobody else was really using them. But my dad tore his calf pushing a thing of concrete, and he was getting ready for a show, one of his shows. I
oh
mean,
my
tore it
god,
bad. And he was always a big reader. And
yeah,
he was, have you ever heard of this TB 500 BPC stuff? I'm like, what the hell is that? I'm like, what are you
yeah,
talking about? I think this was like 2011 or no,
yeah,
2011 or 2012, one of those years. I'm like, what is BPC? What is that? They go, oh, I read it online. It'll help heal your injuries. And it did work. I mean, he was
yeah,
the orthopedic told him he couldn't do cardio for like 4 months. He was back to doing cardio in like 3 weeks. But yeah, like when we were, nobody was using peptides. There wasn't anything. If they were, it was very secretive. They've been around a long time, but they just weren't popular at all.
yeah. Like and but like yes, like nobody really used them, and kind of if you did, you're like, what are you doing, weirdo? Like, why are you
Yeah,
doing that? Like
it's a
they just
peptide.
take years to be normal.
Yeah,
Like, but like,
true.
yeah, nowadays, listen, they're amazing. They do great things. They heal you. There's anti-inflammatories. I'm a huge believer in peptides. I work for a company. Okay, like, like, yeah, I work with Omega Amino, Code C Mass. Like, no, it's I'm all about it, but you got to be strategic. You can't just keep jamming everything in the same body parts. You have to do the tissue work. You don't have to go pay an expert. You can buy scraping tools if you watch YouTube, learn how to do these things, learn how to take care of yourself. Like before I could afford things, before that I had sponsors and stuff, you learn to do things on your own. And I don't know. It's a shame to me when I see a top guy on the stage and they have two golf balls in their lats. They have a softball in their ass cheek. I'm like, come on, bro. Like your coach didn't tell you to fix that a year ago.
And move it around or fix it. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
there's
funny when I stopped bodybuilding. I actually realized this recently. I was putting my TRT in my ass cheeks like over and over
mhm,
and over. I don't take much, and I'm like, I don't think I should do this. And I'm like, I tell everybody to move it around, and I started moving around. I'm like, man, now I can see why I tell people to move, because I've never repeatedly jabbed the same place. Even from day one, I knew to move it around.
mhm,
I mean, I put it everywhere. I knew to put it everywhere. I was told to put it everywhere. It's just little things like that go a long way. It's a good point that you made.
100%. Like I haven't put TRT in my glutes since a long, long, long time ago because I want my
Oh, you
glutes to look good.
haven't? Good.
I haven't hit my
Perfect.
quads. I haven't hit my glutes, and there's plenty of safe places to put your TRT or your aminos. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
So I think
you're prescribed TRT.
my prescribed TRT, of
That's
course.
right.
Wouldn't mess with anything else. But on that note too, it's funny. Like we're talking about that. Like the world is like freaking out because there's like a couple compounds like Primo and Masteron that's like not available, and like what am I gonna do? I can't step on stage. I'm like, bro, like nobody even used Masteron in 1995. Like
And
they didn't even know what that
well,
was.
they were. It was pharmaceutical grade, but it wasn't. It never was a
But still,
necessity.
like, what could be
But Chris, what really kills me is the
what?
Primo.
Oh my god.
Primo wasn't popular up until a couple of years. It was used in like the 80s and early 90s. But when I was no coach had ever told me to use
It's a
Primo.
little yeah. No, no. And everybody and their brother. Oh my god! Listen, let's talk about this too. Everybody thinks that they do things that they don't do. Like, dude, yeah, no reason to ever use an AI. Just use Primo. I'm like, that's not how it works. Okay, like it's not an aromatase
No,
inhibitor. Okay,
it's
and
not.
same thing. They all think EQ, Primo, and um, freaking Masteron is like the same thing as
They're
Arimidex.
all
It
the
is not
same.
the
So
same thing.
that's what another thing people are saying too. Oh, if you can't use Primo or Masteron, use EQ.
No, they're not the same.
Why is all these things being bunched into Masteron and Primo aren't the same either?
No, they're not. And
I don't.
it's not the same. It's not the same as Nolvadex. It's not the same as Arimidex. It's not the same as Aromacin. They do different things, and it's a shame. Now you have people taking like 1,500 milligrams of Master on like no test, or like 200 milligrams test. I'm like, what are you doing, dude?
It's funny. I had a guy. He's actually a very good client of mine. He turned pro. When he came to me, I think he was taking 1,500 or 2,000 milligrams of Masteron and like low test. His estimate was nothing, nothing. And I was like, there have been a bunch of people like this. But wait, so it's bad to run a higher dose of testosterone, but you could slam Primo and Masteron?
It's crazy, and I blame a handful of influencers or these people who are doctors and they act like they know what they're talking about. They're just making shit up. Um, I'm sorry, everyone's choking around me. I got like a dog choking, my wife choking. But no, it's just like, yeah, I don't. What do you think it is? You think it's because I heard that one has to do with like the whole fentanyl thing in China, and then I blame social media the most
Oh, well, what do you mean social media?
for like everybody buying up all the same freaking compound.
Oh, no, I mean, yeah, yes and no, but for a fact, I do know that China has cracked down on because
Yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah, for sure.
a lot of the manufacturers in China are using ingredients that are creating the F word, and I'm using my words carefully because I don't know how
Oh my man,
YouTube
I think we're deep enough in where
will
it's okay.
censor things, which is
Yeah,
ridiculous. You say a word of a compound, but they are cracking down, and people are being arrested. Like that, it's not hearsay. There are people just saying like that's a fact,
no,
like from
yeah,
people in
that's right. No,
China.
you're 100% right about that.
Yeah,
And on that note, when you guys, this is for the viewers, when you get stuff, and I know every UGL is like, oh man, I sell my stuff to Mr. Olympia. This is the same stuff
they
he
all
like.
say
No,
that.
they're all full of shit. They're lying. It's not true. They're not getting their stuff from you know whatever pharmaceutical from their bathtub that you're using. Um, for shit. Okay, I can't tell you how often I've seen women order Primo and it's like MPP. I can't tell you how many times they've ordered Anavar and it's D-ball. I've seen all the Mass P, Test P. They're not the same, and they're like, man, this Mass P freaking hurts all the time. Like, you need to test it, and they're like, it's test, and I'm like, yeah, that's it's not real. Like, it's not the same thing.
You know what another thing is too to keep in mind? All these UGLC, I test my stuff. Okay, so where's the testing? Like they all say that now. So where is the test? Listen, it's one
Right.
thing to get the lab max test or whatever test kits are out to see if the compound is what it is, but everybody claims to send it out to Janoschik or one of these other. Where's the testing? And I want people to be wary of this too. It is very easy. Let's say Bob has Icelandic Labs, and on my website or on my Signal app or Telegram or my WhatsApp group, I have testing. Look, here's my master on. My master on is 105.35 milligrams. It's on the label, it's 100 mgs. Okay, so you're testing every batch, but I also want people to think of this too. It is very easy for Bob, who owns Icelandic Labs, to make a really good bottle of Primo or Masteron or whatever
Mhm.
trend. Send that out. Just send that one bottle out or whatever. Make a small batch. Send it out. Now I have this beautiful test sheet. You come to me. Oh, do you test your stuff? Yeah, I do. Meanwhile, so it's still. I would do your due diligence of sending out. Like it's. I think it's $100 or whatever it is. However much it is to send it out and anybody can do it. Go on janoshift.com, whatever his website is, find one of these testing labs, and you can send out legally because they declare it through customs because they are actual laboratories and see for yourself. Because that's become a big thing, even with peptide companies too. A lot of them.
Yep.
I know Chase
Chase
specifically tests
actually tested
every
it.
single batch.
Mhm.
Um, he got a batch of Sloop, which was something else, and
It's not safe.
didn't
That's
put
why I
it
didn't
out.
know.
That's it. Yeah. So so just be wary of peptide companies and UGLs just because they say it's tested.
Mhm.
You sure take their word, but don't be afraid to spend the extra money and do your due diligence too.
I'm gonna. I know I've plugged him already, but like Chase with Omega Amino, like he changes the color of the tops depending on the
That's
test.
right.
So they literally test every single batch and everything with like so if you get like a BPC with a yellow top or a BPC with a blue top, they're two different batches. So he literally changes the batches and sends them all out because he wants to actually use real shit too. Like he's very very passionate about it, and that's
Yeah.
a big reason why I work with him. Um, on that note, the color of the tops in your HGH doesn't matter. So when you're like, oh,
Yes,
don't worry,
yes, it
use the
does.
blue top.
Yes, it
Like,
does.
what do you mean?
Bro, you got yes,
Oh,
it
you're joking.
the black tops. The black tops are the best ever. I remember coming up and hearing people talk about these tops, and now I think back, I'm like, even back then I knew. So wait, so there is only one person who makes
Yeah.
black top growth hormone,
Oh,
or
this
like
one's
it's like
Sero. It's all Sero.
oh,
Tell me what?
you you got to use the black tops. No, you got to use the red tops. You got to use the gold tops.
It's so stupid, bro. And I've heard it so many times, and I'm like, you sound stupid, right? Like you're
It's
saying this out loud for people to hear you.
it's common sense, and I hate to sound condescending, but it should be common sense. So there's only one place in the world that creates black top peptides or growth hormone. No,
You hear that?
no.
Oh, it's live fire. I don't know. Like I don't. I always wonder if you can hear that shit. I could just hear machine guns in the back,
Mm.
but no, like that shit doesn't freaking matter. And on that note, like okay, Dom is Sero and generic the same?
No,
No, it
no.
is not.
Listen, I will burn and die on that hill so heavily.
Yeah.
I and I will even you could even look it up. Ceristin, genotropin, and nordotropin aren't equal either. You could even look it up in the pamphlets. They're all made from different bacterias for
Mhm.
different uses.
Yes.
Ceristin was made for people with immune issues and muscle wasting, mainly
Mhm.
people with HIV. Genotropin and nordotropin made for people with growing deficiencies, kids mainly. Same thing with, Sizin. So, and I've tried them all from the American pharmacies, except for Sizin. And I've seen them work in different ways. And listen, there have been a few physiques that look great on generics. There have, but they were complete freaks. But even then, you can absolutely spot the difference in a physique using true pharmaceutical grade growth hormone and generic. No, but
Now
it's cheaper. You can use more. Doesn't just because you use more doesn't mean it's better. There are different amino acid sequences. There are different fillers. They're made in
that's a big one.
different. And the craziest thing I've heard, and not to rant on about this, but I will, is the people that say that Ceristim and Genotropin and Nordotropin are made in the same facilities as generic growth hormone.
They're not.
People say that. No, but they get their powders from the places that make generics. No, they do not.
It is not the
So
same.
I had a friend or an acquaintance that worked for Pfizer a long time ago that trained in a underground gym, we'll call it, in New York. And they were a very used, they're the ones that told me about the different bacterias that some of these growth hormones are made from, the uses a long time ago. And even they were like, I can guarantee you it's not. And the people that say that it's the same thing look like they are on generic growth hormone. There is a certain look. And even John Meadows
Puffy,
long ago told me the
watery,
same thing. Yeah, that weird
swollen,
look to the skin.
swollen injection spots.
It's not the same look.
No. So something else too. So like
But wait, but
you
Chris,
said, what's up?
hold that thought while I'm on this subject. But
Yeah.
it does. I'm not saying generic growth hormone doesn't do anything. It will raise your IGF levels if it's a decent generic. You will get some recovery benefits out of it. You may get some fat burning benefits out of it, but it does not produce that same cosmetic look and effect. Does
It
not.
does not.
So sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I just
No,
wanted to
no,
put that out there.
that's fine. And I've heard people like, oh, anybody who the people who buy Sarah are just the same people who buy Louis Vuitton purses. They just want to show off their expensive stuff. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not the same.
No.
Like um, down to the way it mixes.
Yep.
I've seen videos of when you mix Sarah, you can use like 1/10 of an ml for the entire bottle. So you can do like let's say if it was like a 10 IU bottle, they're usually bigger. You can literally do like 1 unit per 1 IU. That's how well it can mix because of the fillers that they put in there and what they do to help reconstitute it in backwater. And so if people don't know too, they come with like the sterile water, so you can shoot the entire bottle in one go if you needed to. That's what that
That's
comes
right.
with. So it needs to be able to mix very, very well with plain old sterile water. Okay, but no, if you're going to use it over multiple uses, then you of course you're going to use backwater. But then if you go to use these generics, you'll go and throw a whole ml in there, and you're sitting there like, why the hell is that
Staring.
not mixing? Like
Staring.
you see clumps in there, like all this shit. You go to inject it, and you'll get swollen. You'll get like red marks every time you do it. Stings. When you use actual pharmaceutical growth hormone, you're not going to have that reaction. Okay, because they actually made it for people to really take. Like they give it to children. Like it's not meant to freaking sting every single time.
No.
It's just a different quality. It's a different quality in all around, and you can tell there's a lot of freaking fake Geno pens out there with like, oh,
I,
they're like the Geno
you
cartridges,
go,
like too,
yeah.
like, oh, it doesn't even fit in a freaking pen. You tell me that's real? Full of shit.
Chris, I was just about to say that. I was talking to a client of mine earlier today, and I had the fake Genos at one point. I thought they were
Mhm.
real at first, and then got in touch with somebody who knew, and they were like, no, they are not.
Yep.
So he sends me his source, and I'm like, man, they have Genos, they have Nords, they have the new Neglia, the long acting growth hormone. I probably butchered that name. They have pretty much how do they have access to all this pharmaceutical growth hormone? I look at the pictures, it was the turkey growth hormones. Well, let me tell a
Yeah.
story about the turkey genotropins. Now,
Sure.
people are testing them with the test kits. Of course, it's going to come up positive for somatropin. There's generic GH in them.
Yeah.
I've taken genotropins from the American pharmacy with prescription, norditropins from the American pharmacy with prescription, Seristims with prescription. Now, each the Genos were definitely number one for me. Nords were definitely number two. Ceras, and it was a noticeable difference, not only in how I looked at my physique, how fast I lost body fat, my skin and my face would change. There was a certain look. I've taken generic growth hormone to see. I've had these fake genotropin pens that people are using today. They are not the same thing just because they pop up positive on a somatropin
Yeah.
test.
That doesn't matter. They're putting so much rubber in there. It's not the same.
And then there's no such, and the person who worked for Pfizer and even a long time mentor of mine back then said, if there is an endless supply of something, it is too good to be true.
No, one thousand
How is
percent.
there an endless supply? So again, just to put a little story behind this. So years back when I was bodybuilding, trying for my comeback, I got a bunch of these pens. And I'm taking them. I'm like, all right, it's doing something, but it's not the. So I kept taking them, and this was coming from a pharmacy in Turkey. The guy would send me a picture, a video of him going into the refrigerator. And all of a sudden, I get a batch. The labels were different. I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, why are the labels crooked? I've never seen a crooked genotrope. And then the
No.
writing. And I asked him, I'm like, this is fake. I'm like, what is this? Oh, I didn't see it when that batch went out. I'm like, I thought this was coming from the pharmaceutical companies to your pharmacies. So you made up a great point. These genotropin pens that everybody claims to have are fake. And I know what the actual labels on the
Yeah.
box and on the pens look like. And these pens are missing a lot of the writing and a lot
Yeah.
of the stuff. So I've had genotropins from America and I've had them from Brazil, and they're
We
pretty
should make an
much
app where like
identical.
you put a real you put like your product and it tests it and it like uses AI and it tells you if it's real.
So maybe make a lot
Oh,
of money. But I don't know,
yeah,
bodybuilders are also cheap too. They don't know if they want to invest in that.
Yeah, I know, right? I tell people to go test their shit. They're like, nah, it's no, I know it's okay. Like, I know the guy. I'm like, what do you mean you
Yeah.
know the guy?
No,
It's
it's real. I
you
feel it. I feel it.
mean the guy with the pickup truck and the van behind the gym. Like, yeah, I know
I
him. He's a
feel it.
good dude.
I feel it's real.
Yeah, people lie. People are inherent liars. That's the problem. And everyone's trying to make a buck.
But
And everyone knows the guy.
there is a growth hormone shortage going on, as you know. Seristim kit scripts have been cut down, which also two people have to be weary. There are counterfeit Seristim kits out. People
Mm-hmm.
are the boxes are being made. Um, Sometimes they're reusing the boxes, the bottles. So be wary of counterfeit Seristims too. Those have been cut down massively here in the United
I
States.
literally seen someone order a ton of cartridges of Geno instead
Yeah,
of
the
the pen.
cartridges.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they don't like the top is off. It's too big. It won't even go in the pen. Like, and I'm
Which
like,
those cartridges, I had them too. It's I had American ones, which were real,
mhm.
and I got the counterfeit international ones that I thought at the time were real. And then I get an email, like one of those spam emails from supplier, manufacturer, and they had generics that were in those same cartridges with that
Mhm.
weren't labeled. So it used to be thought that if they came in pens, they were real. They could
No.
recreate anything. They've been recreating them for a long
You
time.
can buy the bottles that they. That's what we're talking about. Like the different tops. You just buy bottles and put whatever you want in there.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull up a picture.
I've seen people just getting Samorelin. Like instead of because that'll still raise your IGF.
It'll do something on the blood work.
100%.
Let's see, Genotropin Pfizer.
The fact that people aren't willing to spend a few extra dollars to test their stuff and then just inject it themselves is a wild thought.
Well, their friend said it was real. So this, for the most part, is what a label would look like. Look at all that. Is it focusing? No, of course not.
Mm,
Oh, there it goes.
There it is. There
Look
it
at
is.
all
Yep.
that. Look at all that different writing. These are the newer labels
Mhm.
in the last few years for 5 milligram box. Now, oh, here's another example of where the cartridge is coming over the last few years. This is from a pharmaceutical website.
Hold it close.
This is,
Yeah, I see it.
so none of the cartridges that are out that are counterfeit, you are not getting these unless you have a prescription or know somebody with a prescription. Now,
Mhm.
your Go Quick pens that you're talking about, that everybody swears is real. This is from Google, but all of them look like this. On focus.
Yep. But you gotta be careful because like when you get those, literally the color of the writing can be off. The way the cap is could be a different color. It could be
Yeah,
gray instead of black.
I'm
All the
trying to
little
get
things
this
matter.
thing to focus, like a pointer. Anyways, those labels,
Mhm.
I wish it would focus. Those labels
All right.
on the pen are missing a lot of writing.
Right.
And then even the box are much different. I wish it would focus so I can explain. So if
And
your
like the
pens,
directions, you pull out there should be
yes,
directions in there.
which they're putting directions in all of them, but even those look different. If your boxes and
Yeah.
pens look like this, I can bet you it is most likely counterfeits. I'm waiting for a picture of one of my friends because I don't do this stuff anymore to send
Mhm.
me a picture that I can send to people what legit pens look like. Um, but yeah, it's crazy that most people are taking counterfeit growth hormone when they can just buy generics and get the same thing for a lower price.
Could you imagine if this stuff was just legal? Like everyone was like worried about like when weed got legal. Now like nobody's gonna go buy illegal weed. You're just gonna go to the dispensary and go buy it. Like imagine you just go to just get test and Masteron and all that stuff from the store, and that they charge more, just go buy it.
The old meathead in me would say great. The newer
I
skinny
know.
dom, I would be no because
I try to be a little liberal once in a while.
I'm going to be a liberal right now. I'm going to be a
You can be
hardcore liberal
conservative.
right
I
now.
know.
So no, because there are people out there that shouldn't be taking any anabolic steroids or using growth hormone.
What everyone should take steroids.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
according
I'm
to
gonna be
Instagram.
I'm gonna I'm gonna be a little liberal on that right now, but Yeah, it's a crazy times we're living in terms of suppliers and uh, how there's droughts going on. But like every other time this has happened in history, it'll go away at some point and everything will come back.
Yeah. I want to change subjects before we get off here because I'm gonna have to eat a meal here soon.
Me too.
I'm getting smaller, so I just want to add one more thing. Um, I was talking about this a little while before. I don't have like a certain list pulled up, um, but since we're talking about the Olympia as like the main theme of the podcast, you got any like new and upcoming pros, new and or upcoming pros that you want to bring up that might be something here soon?
I do. Well, right off the top of my head, Jordan Hutchinson.
Hmm.
Um, Great showing at the Olympia. I think he placed 12th. He's improved massively over the last year. I
Yep.
foresee him, if he can again keep his lines intact, like we were talking about, and his
Yep.
waistline, he will continue to rise through the ranks as long as his genetics allow him to be
His glutes are
um,
nuts.
crazy. As long as he
Crazy
can
shrimp.
keep his lines and stay healthy, I think he will continue to do extremely well. He has a great head and his shoulders, and of course, he's with Chris, and Chris is one of the
Yeah.
best coaches out there, and I have nothing but respect and love for Chris. He's a very good friend of mine.
Hmm.
Who else is there?
I'm
Somebody
gonna
tell.
say about Jordan, like overall, like awesome physique. I think that his waist has only gotten better, which is rare. You don't normally see people's waist getting better. And I think that if he grew his back a little bit more, because he's already heavy, he's already in the 260, like in the 260s on stage.
Yeah,
If he had a thicker back, like he'd be pretty dangerous up there, like in the Olympia. Really,
and
I think.
arms,
Yeah,
and
and arms too.
arms. But I do have to say, with his waist, I noticed when I was there in person at Tampa, he was having a little hard time controlling it. I think he mentioned he was having some gut issues, and
Yeah,
then
well, I
afterwards
heard
he
him talk
mentioned
about he
it.
had some cramps in his back too. And when your
Ah,
back
yeah,
is cramped, it's hard to suck in your stomach.
I think he said he had some gut issues as well post show. So
Yeah,
that's why I mentioned the waist. But there's another pro I want to mention is Justin Wyatt. He's down in
yeah.
Texas as well.
I think they're aren't they like training partners?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
He works
He's
with
awesome.
Ty Woosley. I hope I'm not pronouncing his last name wrong. But Justin is like one of the last of the Mohegans when it comes to like hardcore
Agreed.
training. Yeah, so he has great potential with his physique. He usually comes in great condition, trains very hard.
Yeah.
You've seen his
Former
physique?
person. Yeah, I've seen him. I saw him at the Olympia too. You know, he's a thick dude.
Yeah,
Let me see here. This is him right here, guys. Yes, I follow him. I'm actually on Andrea's Instagram right now because I'm an idiot and I can't log into my own Instagram.
it's fine.
But so she doesn't follow him, but I do. I've talked to him quite a bit. He's a really good guy too.
Very good guy.
I mean, he's thick, man. You know, I think
Scroll
you
down,
know,
see if there's any. Don't use those stage shots. I hate how the cameras do these guys no justice. Like, here, like, look at the check out those most musculars, super
yeah, he's
round.
round delts and round biceps and stuff too.
Yeah, and this is obviously not in contest condition, but
No, but still,
I've
you're getting the idea. Great
yeah, look at
back.
that back,
Yep.
crazy back.
Know what I like too? I like that more guys are not fully flexing their glutes as much. Like we're kind of getting into like kind of like the half flex to show hamstrings a little bit more. I think it's adding another
Yeah,
dimension. It's a personal preference of mine because I don't
nobody
like
used to
when
do
guys
that.
make their big legs look small.
I used to do that because nobody would tell us to push it out. Check out that most muscular. How's that one
Which one?
on the
Am I
right?
right?
Yeah,
Here? Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah, he looks great. His delts are sick.
You're very round.
Back
His
looks great.
back is his best part.
Yeah, like he makes his waist look small from that position.
Yeah,
He's thick, man.
crazy back. Who else is there that we should
Would
mention? I'm trying
you
to think off the top of my head.
would you consider Justin Shire a new pro? I mean, he won that one show. He went to the Olympia once.
No, I consider him more of a seasoned veteran now. He's competed in a few pro shows. I mean,
We
he
talked about
turned.
Joe Palacios before. He's up
Nope,
and coming.
he is
He's at the
definitely up and
house.
coming. Pull him up
He's
so everybody can see.
It's just Joe the Machine.
That dude is a machine.
Look, do you see his update? Look at this. That's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Belts.
And you know what's funny too? In his off season, he looks kind of blocky in his off season,
Yeah.
but when he comes down for the show, it's just a completely different physique. Look at that. It's crazy.
Yeah, like he looked insane. The other thing, you know what I like about him too? Like he's honest, where like he had to get out of shape to get huge. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, and he talks about it. Like he's not afraid to just be real, which I like too. Obviously, this isn't the best angle, but you can see how freaking
And
massive he
he's
is.
also not, peeled there either, and that's a big
No.
difference in his physique. But he's just a big. He's definitely an up and comer. I
You saw
consider
him
him an up
backstage
and
at
comer.
Tampa, right?
Yeah, it was huge. He came over and introduced himself when you were getting tanned.
Yeah. I don't like the overdone shots. I like
No, me neither.
look at that
That's
the before
crazy.
and after nuts.
He's so wide.
Yeah.
Who else
You
is
got
there? Do I mean?
anybody else on mine? I mean, we talked about that one kid from Turkey in the 212. He looks sick.
Nihat? Yeah, let me look.
You know how to spell his name?
Nihyat, I believe. Yeah,
Yeah, the guy looks sick. Look at his
he's
delts.
y- he's young
I know.
too.
Look at his delts, man. It's crazy.
Crazy. Who else is there? I'm trying to scroll through because I'm exhausted.
So do you see what I mean though? Like, okay, so it's this shot right here with the way he does his vacuum. Kind of reminds me of Jason a little bit with the vacuum, thick
Yeah,
legs.
the vacuum. Yeah, his waist is Jason had a bigger rib cage.
Yeah, he had a really wide rib cage. There's a couple of shots where like here's him at the O. Just great aesthetics, and he's still got great lines in his legs and everything.
He does.
Do you remember
He
that?
still has that young look to his body yet.
Yeah, it'll harden up over the years. People don't
The
realize that takes time.
baby skin.
Because and that's the thing. Like, yeah, sometimes your skin gets thicker, but as you get older, you start losing a little bit of collagen, and
Hmm.
your estrogen starts naturally going lower as well. So you get thinner skin. You know,
That's why a lot of the Masters guys look grainy and just hard naturally.
super crazy. Do you remember that? I forget his name. The Chinese guy who was at Tampa. He had a pretty sick shape. I
Oh,
obviously
Pin,
he's got
Pin.
pro.
I was a very big. He was one of my favorite physiques there. Ping.
Ping, right?
Yeah, Ping
Right here.
Young Long.
I can. Luckily, I think Andrea searches more bodybuilders than I do, so she can. I can find him myself.
Pictures and videos do this guy no justice. He
No,
had one of the most beautiful physiques of our time.
looks fantastic in person, and
Yeah, and I
the
believe that
legs.
was his first open show, I believe, Chris, from 212.
That's wild. You got to see this guy's legs in person. They're literally 3D. Look at this.
Yeah, like I said, videos do him no justice.
No,
He was so impressed. Shape was so impressive.
waist tiny.
If you want to see my favorite part about this character, he was
What's
also
that?
He was very smiley backstage. Go
Look at that.
click on his page. Wait, go
Violin.
down. Yeah, the violin.
Yeah, he plays like the that classic. I don't know Chinese violin. I don't know what it's
It
called.
says
I'm not cultured.
Chinese. It says Chinese kung fu, but I don't know. I don't think this is kung fu.
I don't know. No, but no, the fact that he's also an artist, you know, like he can play instruments is pretty badass.
Amazing physique. I'm a very big fan of his.
Yeah. Speaking of Asians and violins, I'm pretty sure Jason played violin. Paul plays piano. You know,
Really?
yeah, yeah, they're
They
good.
would.
Yeah, I
Was
think
there any,
it's cool.
Chris? Was there anybody else who was in mind for up and comers? I know I'm missing
Um,
somebody. I'm just wiped.
no, I'm not really sure. Someone, hey, if you're watching this, comment on your favorite up and coming bodybuilder. Let us
Yes,
know.
please.
Don't let us forget. You know, because of course there's going to be more, and of course there's the guys who just won. Like you got Chris Knox coming up. We'll see if he gets bigger and in shape. I think he's doing his pro debut in New York, maybe something like that.
Who?
Chris Knox.
Oh, Chris Knox from yes, from Hawaii.
Yep, guys who were just got their pro cards and stuff too. We'll see
Before
how.
before we move on,
Sure.
you know who I'd like to see get to Olympia is Quint.
Yeah.
Quint Beast
Oh man,
second,
I could have had him
second.
win over God, what the hell's wrong with me? Fucking Urs. I could have had him win over Urs in the
I
show.
agree.
Yeah.
I would have went with him. There were a few shows where I would have picked him. I do love the fact that he was pretty much getting better every show,
Hmm.
and he's dramatically improved from last year. So
He looks
even
great
though
in
he's
person.
not much of an up and comer, I believe he deserves a mention.
He's still on his way up there though, and I would
Yeah.
love to see him on the O stage. You know, and I mean, also not an up and comer. Listen, I love Ur's attitude. I love that he trains hard. I love that he puts so much weight on. But still got some more size to add on there, some more detail to add in his back and everything. But I'm looking forward to seeing where his physique goes to.
And without that weight cap limit, that's if he could hold his lines now.
I think there's so many guys stuck in classic who shouldn't be there. You know,
Well, again, it's become smaller bodybuilding. It shouldn't be. And even look at all the regional shows, how it lacks competitors in
yeah.
bodybuilding because they're going to physique or classic. But again, doesn't mean everybody should be moving up because there is genetic limitations on everybody too.
Yes, there is, and I need to say this: not everyone is meant for classic. Okay,
Mhm.
not everyone is meant to have a vacuum. Not that you need a vacuum to be
No.
classic, but I'm just saying everyone's trying to do a vacuum. Not everyone's meant for that. I had to like morph my ribs to even do that and make it look good. Like don't not everyone's meant to do vacuum on stage. Not everyone's meant to be in classic. You need to be able to be in that weight class, but still look big and still look streamlined. If I could describe classic better, they make weight classes in amateur bodybuilding for a reason. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to just I'll just start in classic. Just start in your weight class in bodybuilding. They make
I
middleweight, they make light heavyweight and all that stuff. Like just go to your weight class, do your best. You know, and just because like you're in classic, you're going to be against someone who's like maxing out their height to weight, and looking huge. So
What did everybody do back then? They started in their weight class in bodybuilding and worked their way up. It wasn't.
mhm.
I hate the fact that classic has become. Do I do classic or do I do bodybuilding? No, classic is supposed to be a shape and structure thing.
100%. It's not just like a starter class.
No, it's not novice bodybuilding.
Exactly. It shouldn't be treated like that. It should be
No.
if you have that 25, 26-inch waist and big arms and small like light bones or whatever the hell, and you can look jacked and everything in that weight class, great. If you just don't have any muscle, that doesn't mean you're a classic. So
Or if you could hit, then no muscle and hitting vacuums. Aesthetic.
exactly. All right, man. I think it's time for my meal. I think we talked about everything we possibly could about the Olympia. If we missed a subject or something, guys who are watching, guys and gals out there, put your comments below. If you disagree with us, go ahead and argue. That's fine.
Yes.
It's all good engagement. Make sure that you like and subscribe. It all helps us, and we're trying to grow this channel and bring on guests and everything in the future. So it all helps. You want
That's
anything
it.
done?
And we will be resuming the Q&As next podcast, I'm pretty sure. Yes. And
Absolutely.
our next podcast may have a guest. So
Yeah, that's the plan. All right, man. It's always good talking to you. I'll talk to you soon, and I'll update you tomorrow morning.
cool. Sounds good, dude.
All right, man.
Later.
Take it easy.